minutes, by Sesh, please stop live streaming. All right, so we're going to
Okay.
go to Genesis
That's possible.
chapter 4, because we went to 6, but what made us shift into the position where we could be fooled? Genesis chapter 4, and this is after Cain kills Abel and, gets a heave hole out the garden, right? We know the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
And Abel is gone, the Abel group. We know it's not an individual, but a group of people. There was a massacre that took place. But they had to now replace this seed. So according to Genesis chapter 4, verse 25, it should be up on your screen in a moment. You should see it on the screen, yes?
Coming up. Yes,
All
sir.
right. It says, and Adam, verse 25, Sister Shan, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir. Genesis 4, verse 25. And Adam
Yes,
knew
please.
his wife again, and she bare him a son, and called his name Seth.
So
For
now
God,
from the Adamic group, they copulate, to enter into Dakala, Fiha, enter, and they created or birthed or conceived a new son. Now they got this as if it's an individual, but this individual, they says, is again, and she bare a Ben. Or Bane.
Yes.
And it says this is a masculine noun, supported by Strong's and Jacinius's. Does it mean son or does it mean children?
Children.
So that would be a big difference in the translation. She knew they Adam a group, the Eves, the Nakabas, and the Zakars, the Rememberers, they conceived children.
Yes.
Children, not singular. Sons, you see it here?
Yes.
People of a nation, you see it here?
Yes.
Yes.
Member of a guild, an order, or a class, do you see it here?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And these sons of injustice, unrighteous, or sons of God, angels. So they conceived children and called their name Kara.
Kara.
From the word, the Muslims get the word Quran, Kara, to say. A verb, an action, and called and cried and preached and read the word Ikra, Kara, Ikra. You hear it? Ikra.
Okay.
So Muhammad is told in the Quran, Ikra,
Yes.
Ikra. Read. It was recited, it was proclaimed, it was declared, it was uttered, it was summoned. This name, Shem. Shem, renowned, the same word. If we go to Genesis again, are y'all still with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
We want to know why the shift is necessary and what's the steps are. We're going to take our time with this subject. I ask that you take notes. In Genesis 6, which we looked at on Sunday, and remember, there was no splitting in the chapters. So if you're wondering why I'm reading it in this order, is because they put it out of order.
Yes.
Yes.
They put the angels coming down in Genesis 6. When the angels came down in Genesis 6, which would really be Genesis chapter 1, Genesis chapter 1 would really be Genesis 6. Chapter 6 today should be in the first position when angels came down. Revelation says there was war in heaven. They came down. It was a fight. Somebody got kicked out, him and his boys. They came to earth. That should happen before the flood of Genesis 1. And Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 23 tells us this. And the scholars know. So the angels are now on earth. Genesis 6, we read chapter 6 first, because chapter 6 should be the first chapter in the book of Genesis. I pray y'all hear me.
Yes, we do.
Yes, sir.
And in Genesis 6, which should be Genesis 1, they became men of what? Old, Genesis 6:4.
Men of old, men of renown.
Men of renown. What's the word renown? Shem.
Shem.
Men of old, men of
Renown. Shem.
80:34. Y'all see the number?
Yes.
Yes.
Genesis chapter 4. So these Nakeba groups gave birth to Shem, men of renown, men of fame, men who had a reputation. In fact, in the book of Isaiah, when it said 7 women would take hold to one man, are they taking hold to the one man according to the prophecy for him to necessarily provide, or do they say so that we may have a name?
They may have a name.
Let's look at it. I pray y'all are following along. Blue Letter Bible.
Yes.
Again, we're going to King James. You take whatever translation you want. Isaiah chapter what?
Hold on.
4 verse what? You're supposed to start knowing these. 4 what?
Sure.
Anybody here?
Yes, sir.
Isaiah 4 what? Right on your screen. It's not a hard one. It's
4
not a trick
1.
question.
4:1.
4:1. They
And in
said
Isaiah.
we eat our own bread and we wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy
Name.
to take away our.
Reproach.
All right. So let us be called by your. It's
Sem.
there. It's right there. Come on, help me out. Somebody.
Sem. Shem.
Okay,
More like
we're
it.
gonna do an audio test because everybody,
Hey.
y'all tired, too much food. Y'all looking at the screen. Open your mics, get involved. This is Wednesday. We are a teaching church. I'm not here to speak to you. I'm not here to speak at you. I'm here to speak with you.
That's right.
You will never learn it if you don't participate in the actual event. If you sit and just try to be quiet, it will not stick. It only functions with those who are speaking with it. I'm gonna try this again for the people in the back of the bus. We're in Isaiah 4, verse 1. I know you're trying to write, but you can walk and chew gum. I trust this. I'm one of you. I was raised amongst you.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask
Yes.
this question, and then I'm going to start saying names and get you to respond if you don't say anything. If you just say something, then we can keep it moving because this is a teaching church, not a preaching church. Are we all on the same page together now?
Yes,
Yes,
we are.
sir. Yes,
Yes,
we
we
are.
are.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
these
sir.
women wanted to be called by thy
Name.
Shem,
Name.
Name.
Shem.
by their
Name.
name. By their name, to take away thy shame. So when you take on the name, when you become renowned, that's what removes your shame. What makes the world stop treating you like you don't matter is when you take on the name, the purpose, the goal of a well-lit sun. This is what scripture was talking about. That same name, 8034, is the same in Genesis chapter 6, men of renown. It's the same in Genesis chapter 4 when they were naming and called his name. So the Shem, the Sethites, they were people of renown. They had a name. They did some great stuff.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
How do you know? Nimrod. I'm giving you all the ammunition if you write it down. Genesis chapter 10. Nimrod is called a mighty hunter. Genesis 10, verse 8. Nimrod became a mighty one on the earth. And they use the word Gibar. He was a mighty hunter before the
For the
Lord.
Lord.
Uhaya Gibar, mighty, Sayyid, lion, hunter, Fanim, before the face, Yahuwah of the source, Al, wherefore can it is said, Amar Nimrud, even Mirud Gibor, Sayyid Fanim, Yahuwah. So he became a man of renown. The Seth group, because we're talking about the great shift.
Set.
The Seth group had a name called Sheath. And that name Sheath or Shaith, which you find in 1 Chronicles chapter 1, verse 11. S-H-I-T-H. They use the word sheath in 1 Chronicles. I'm giving you the ammunition. This is a teaching church.
Yes.
Yes,
See the
sir.
name? 1 Chronicles 1:1.
Adam Sheath.
Adam,
Yes.
what do they call the second guy?
Sheath.
Sheath. What they call the third guy?
Enosh.
Enosh. But see, so they
Enos.
knew. But back here in
Uh-huh.
Genesis, when they're translating it, they call him Seth. The name is Sheath. And the
Sheath.
name Sheth or Sheath means compensation, substitute, replacement, From this word 7896, verb, it's an action, a set, to station, to a point, to fix, to set mind to constitute, to make one something, men of renown, to make like, image and likeness, to perform works, to take stand, Nimrod. These Sethites had a responsibility. For God, she said, has what? Sheath. Again, the word sheath means appointed. For God,
Appointed.
she said, has appointed. So they named them the ones appointed. And
Mhm.
God has appointed, she said, affixed, set to mind, make like, made into something, made them to stand.
Yes.
Another akhir,
Seed.
another akhir,
Akhir.
another one. Seed zira, we know that word.
Zira,
in
mhm.
studies. Instead, hachat, habil of the
Habil.
rope, whom Qayin, the javelin people, slew. But now something happens. If we put Genesis chapter 6 as the first, now the chronological, I don't even want to call it chronos, but now the numerical order that it should be in, the story would make sense why you fell.
Right.
Genesis 4, and to Seth, to him also there was born a
Son.
A son.
is it a singular son or a group?
Group.
Ben,
It's a group.
sons, a group,
Ben.
children.
Yes.
And they
Group.
called them Kara, same with his name, their name, Sem,
Sem.
Enos.
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 They say man. They say
Yeah.
man, common,
people.
wicked man, God to man. Then they go to the root of it. It's going to tell us about this great shift. Enosh, they were husbands, they were persons, they were collectively men, dignified, stranger. And in the Qur'an, they use this word nas, and nas, alif, nun, alif, sin. Here, alif, nun, alif, sin. From the Arabic here, also the Assyrian nisu, and nas.
People.
From the word nas, from the Assyrian nisu, from tanisitu, but they call Tamare Tanihisi.
Ta-Nehisi.
Tanihisi.
Yeah.
Ask any Egyptologist, they'll say one of the names of Egypt. Let me not ask you to ask them.
Ta-Nehisi.
They call it Ta-Ni-Hi-Si.
Mm-hmm.
EC.
Yes, it. Ta-Nehisi.
Another name for the Nile Valley,
EC.
Ta-Nehisi. In fact, there's another name for Egypt, Ta-Nehisi. Another name for the blue. It's called Ta-Nehisi.
Tanihisi.
You see?
Gathering.
Nehisi, you see it here?
Yes.
You see it here?
Tanihisi. Tanihisi.
The name for
Yes.
Nubia is
Yes.
Ta-Nehisi. Yes?
Yes,
see
sir.
it?
Yes.
That's in the
Yes.
Atlantic magazine.
Aseti.
So the
That's
white
right.
man said
Ta-Nehisi
it.
Coates.
My session didn't say it only. The white man keep confirming me. They just ain't cutting me this check yet. Ta-Nehisi. There's a
Wow.
poet called Ta-Nehisi Coates. Some of you have heard of him before.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, this Ta-Nehisi, you see it here from the Atlantic magazine. Before you said I made it up, the gathering of my name. He's telling you he wrote in the Atlantic where his name comes from. Ta-Nehisi Coates is writing an article that the name is a general designation of Nubia. So
Dr. Ben gave him
when
that
they
name
call
too. Mhm.
Sheets, son, Enosh, Ta-Nehisi, from the word they tell you, and Nas comes from the word Ta-Nehisi too, which is the name for humanity, human race. What type of people were these Enoshites?
Nubian.
So,
African.
Where they
people.
from?
African.
Africa.
Where in Africa?
Nubia.
Nubia.
Ta-Nehisi.
Nubia, the old
Tanihisi,
kingdom.
Nile
And
River Valley.
what is this old kingdom of Nubia known for in the Bible? And the gold of that land
Was
Was
good.
good.
was
Good.
good.
Was
This
good.
is Africa. Told y'all this is African theology and cosmology.
Wow.
Right there. Hey, they don't have to like me. I don't like me all the time either. That's why I brush my teeth and take a bath at least twice a day to keep, make me like myself a little bit more. So now this great shift. Human beings now, the fall has happened. And mortals are being born. These great Nubian people are being born, but these giants are invading the land and kidnapping and pillaging and plundering and mixing their seed. And now we got people amongst us that are no longer the Tanihisi, they're no longer the Nasu and the Namu and the Hamu, but they're becoming the Tamhu and the Binu. They're becoming Binu, colorless albino, and becoming Tamhu, living filth. These were the changes that you see on the walls of Seti the First. In Kemet, you see this there in this African theology and cosmology. The Bible uses the word Tanihisi from the word Nas. So every time you hear Nas, though Muslims will say it only means forgetful human beings. Yes, we did forget, but it does not. The word Nas, they just told us, comes from the word Tanihisitu, from the Assyrian Nasitu, coming from the African cosmology of Tamare. That was you right there in the Bible. It's there.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
So something is going to happen with this great shift if we can go there now. I pray the table's been set. Matter of fact, let's take a commercial break. I'm going to give y'all a breather. I know I talk fast because I ain't got but a little bit of time. I'm going to give y'all a little break. This is a Wednesday in the Word, the True Life Fellowship Hour. This is March 6th. We're in the Atonis Christian True Life Fellowship Hour, Wednesday in the Word. This is the great shift, scriptural strategies and tools for overcoming grief, tragedy, loss, heartbreak, or brokenness. I'm Rev. Dr. A.J. Varma, and this is brought to you by the Tree of Eternal Life stores, as well as the Moment of Joy, Be a Better You Foundation. We'll be right back.
You can help spread the good news of atonement. You can work with your local Kanisa and ask about their outreach activities and even host classes yourself. You can post online